Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that caused my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieved. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieved. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Awesome. Thank you for joining us here today at Lehman College's 9/11 memorial event. Today marks the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. My name is Luis Sotero Rodriguez. I'm the director of the Lehman College of Veterans and Military Affairs Department. I am also a U.S. Army combat veteran and served one tour in Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom 2003 to 2004. I am happy to have served proudly. I am also honored and humbled to have the opportunity here at Lehman College to continue to serve. Our veterans, our service members, and their families as they come home from their service from the post 9/11. Today, as we come together to observe and commemorate, never forget those who have given, those who have gave all, and those who will continue to give. If in any way you are triggered by today's significance and today's current events, please make sure to reach out to the Counseling Center. They're located at the Old Gym Building 114, and their number is 718-960-8761. I would like this opportunity now to have the Dr. Jermaine Wright, the Vice President of Student Affairs, to come up and say a few words.
Louis just gave me a promotion, but President Delgado, I do not want the designation. In all seriousness, thank you for joining us today as we come together to remember and honor the lives lost on September 11th, 2001, a day that forever changed our nation and the world. It is an honor and a privilege to stand here before you, and also a solemn duty to reflect on today. 24 years ago, I was a young college student at Binghamton University, starting my day like any other. Little did I know that morning would be seared in my memory forever. I remembered watching the images on my roommate's television as the first plane was striking the tower and thinking it was a scene from a movie. The reality didn't set in until classes were canceled, and I found myself frantically trying to reach loved ones in New York City. The confusion, fear, and disbelief were overwhelming, but there were only a fraction of what so many others endured on that day. Our nation was shaken to the core on that day. The attacks were deliberate attempt to break our spirits and to sow seeds of fear and division. Yet, in the face of this unspeakable tragedy, we witnessed the very best of humanity. strangers helping strangers, first responders running towards danger, communities rallying in solidarity. Despite pain and loss, our nation refused to be broken. So today, we gather not to relive the horrors of that day, but to honor the memory of those who lost and pay tribute to the countless acts of heroism and sacrifice that followed. We remember the innocent lives taken way too soon and hold in their hearts the families who were forever changed. We honor the brave first responders who risked it all. And we recognize the lasting impact on the survivors, the rescuers, and the many who continue to carry the physical and emotional scars of that day. At Lehman, we too were touched by this tragedy. We remember those in our own community who perished, and we stand in support for those who've lost friends and loved ones. Today, we honor their memories and acknowledge the ongoing strength of their families. In addition, I would like to thank our veterans here at Lehman College who served this country proudly. Today, we remember so that we will never forget. Now I would like to introduce and bring up to the podium our Provost, Jorge Silva Porras.
Thank you, Dr. Wright, and good morning, everyone. I'll be very brief. 24 years ago, for most of us who were adults at the time, keep in mind, 24 years ago, that means most of our students were not even born then. So for them, it is somewhat difficult to grasp what happened 24 years ago. But for us, it's fair to say, as has been said before, this was, for our generation, this was our Kennedy moment. Everyone here probably remembers where they were that day. So, and I think it's an opportunity for us to reflect on what happened that day as a way to ingrain in our students, because our primary purpose, we're all here for the students, right? Whether you work in the registrar's office, or you're a faculty member, or you work in buildings and facilities, or finance, or accounting, or the person, our primary purpose here is to help our students succeed academically and in their lives, in their careers. So I think it's an opportunity for us, moments like today, to share the importance of caring, care, love, and respect for each other. Because the lack of care, the lack of love, the lack of respect for other individuals is what caused ultimately what happened in 9/11 and what has been happening across other parts of the world, including, unfortunately, what's happening today. So my hope is that each and every one of you, when you interact with students, be kind. Care for them, show them respect, and I'm sure students will show respect to us as well. Without further ado, and with that thought, I would like to introduce our fearless leader, President Fernando Delgado, to come to the podium. Thank you.
I'm not sure about fearless. There are things that scare me. The chancellor saying there's going to be a budget reduction, that scares me. Public safety telling me there's a fire on campus, that scares me. Most of the other time I'm relatively fearless. I'm not going to talk about what happened 25 years ago. Thank you. Takes a village, truly. Because my two predecessors talked about 25 years ago. I'm going to talk about feelings. For those of us who were around in 2001, the events here in New York and DC made us feel very vulnerable, didn't they? We'd not seen that. Our parents maybe had seen that. Our grandparents maybe had seen that. My dad was in World War II, so he told me lots of stories about Pearl Harbor. But for me, what 9/11 represents, frankly, has been multiplied over the events of the last week or two. You think about it, in the last 2 weeks, when we think about vulnerability, whatever your political beliefs are and your political affiliations, to be on a college campus in Utah and have somebody murdered while there's a crowd there is a profound feeling of vulnerability. What happened earlier in the day in Colorado at an elementary school, which has happened far too much the last 3 decades, where you send your children off to learn and then you rush back to the campus hoping they're not hurt. That's vulnerability. In my home community in Minneapolis, where your preschool age children and your senior people are sitting in a church and somebody just pokes a gun through a window and starts firing, that's vulnerability. And that's scary. But to echo some of the sentiments of my colleague, the provost, sometimes with vulnerability comes empathy and compassion for yourself and for others. And those are the building blocks, not of the kind of fear that can atomize you and make you suspicious of one another, but turn and bring you back to a sense of community, healthfully, even gleefully, despite our differences. And I'd ask us to do that. And I'd remind us that the wonderful thing that comes with New Yorkers is, despite all the carnage of 9/11 and all the images that we and everybody else in the world saw, very quickly, within hours, that vulnerability turned into community. And that sense of community and togetherness turned into a strength. And New Yorkers and people elsewhere demonstrated that other wonderful human characteristic, resiliency. So what I take from 9/11, from the tragedy of 9/11, is our capacity to translate our vulnerability into a shared community and leverage that into resilience into a healthful way. And I'd ask us all to think about the ways in which we can take those sentiments, those feelings, and forge a world, a society, where we don't have to contemplate having these kinds of memorials over and over and over again. And for those of you who are triggered, thank you, Luis, for providing that. I spent last night and this morning on my way into work at 7 o'clock going, I should probably talk to public safety, because yesterday's shooting in Utah Valley University was probably politically motivated. But the fact that it happened on a university campus, and the fact that we work on a university, and the fact that such a thing could happen and impact the campus so profoundly and create fear, is something that I thought, maybe I need to sit down with people. We need to come up with another plan. Now, thankfully, this campus is going about its business as it always does, and that's wonderful. A sign of our resiliency, right? We survived 9/11. We survived COVID. We survived any number of things. But as I think about what gives me fear and what drives me to talk to our public safety people, I still come back to find your empathy, embrace your vulnerability, seek your community, and together, let's find our strength to make things better instead of just lamenting what was lost. Because if we only look backward and we feel bad about what is lost, maybe we never look forward about what we together can gain in making a better version of us. So, we commemorate 9/11, and at the same time I ask you, let's live a better life. Let's live a better life together. Let's live a life worthwhile where we try to make things better, not just for ourselves, but for our neighbors, and even those strangers we might never come into contact with, who also deserve to live better lives. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for being part of this wonderful community. Because if there's any community in CUNY that represents resilience, it's the Lehman College community. And I thank you, students, staff, faculty, and my fellow administrators, for all that you do in making this one of the best, if not the best, campus communities in our entire system. I'd even go so far as to say in the entire state. I am deeply proud to be part of this community, and I'm even more proud to be your leader because of who you are and what you do. So thank you. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the day. I hope it's all safe here. And since a number of us get on highways on the way home, let's hope it's safe on the way home too, right? Because if there's any place that's dangerous, it's something called a parkway in New York. But we're all going to get home safely, and we're all going to come back tomorrow and Monday and the day after. And I hope each day you come back, it's to help us forge an even stronger and better community. Thank you, everybody.
This day is not only a national tragedy, but also a personal one for our community. We remember classmates, alumni, loved ones, and the many connections that bind us to that moment in history. For some of us, 9/11 feels like distant history. For others, the memories of that morning remain vivid. Whether we were too young to understand or old enough to recall exactly where we were, we all share in the legacy of its impact through the resilience of families, the courage of first responders, and the reminder of how fragile life can be. I would like to share the experience of SGA member Emily Willing, who was a high school student in Manhattan on that day. She recalls hearing the news during class and watching smoke rise from downtown with her classmates. With phone lines jammed, she spent the day helping others connect with their families. She worried for her sister, a Lehman alum, who narrowly avoided danger, and for a close friend who escaped the South Tower after choosing to evacuate despite instructions to stay. Emily remembers the fear that lingered, students unsure if they were even safe inside their school. Walking across the Queensboro Bridge when transit shut down and sitting in Queens as smoke continued to rise. In the days after, the loss became more personal, with the death of FDNY Captain William McGinn, and she witnessed the prejudice faced by Muslim friends who were unfairly targeted. These memories, like for so many New Yorkers, left a lasting imprint. Her story reminds us why we say we will never forget. It is not only about remembering the lives taken, but also about carrying forward the values of unity, compassion, and resilience. As students, we inherit the responsibility to honor these lessons. We do this by standing with one another, supporting those who grieve, and building a community where everyone feels safe, valued, and respected. To our first responders, veterans, and families of those lost, we thank you for your courage, sacrifice, and strength. And to all of us, let today be more than a moment of mourning. Let it be a call to live with empathy, care, and a renewed commitment to peace. Thank you.
Also, I just want to reiterate again that, if you are triggered by today's significance or the current events that's happening, I see Karen is here. Counseling Center, Old Gym Building, 114, 718-960-8761, and that concludes our events. Thank you for coming out today.